Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Sanjay Mishra from Department of Business Administration, Faculty of Management, MJP Rohilkhand University, Bareilly, UP. Today we are going to discuss about the module Measures of Central Tendency, Median Mode, and we are also going to discuss partition values, quartiles, deciles, percentiles under the paper Quantitative Techniques for Management Decisions. After studying this module, you would be able to understand the concept of partition values, which are very frequently used in analysis, economic analysis, in different examinations. In particular, we will be discussing about median in detail, quartiles, the values which divides the data in 4 equal parts, deciles which divide in 10 equal parts, percentiles which divide the data in 100 equal parts when data has been arranged in either ascending order or descending order. Further, we will talk about the different methods which are used for calculating these different partition values. We will also throw light on merits, demerits, and uses of these partition values. Then we are going to talk about ogives, that is the cumulative frequency curves, which helps us in analysis. Then we will talk about modes and the different methods for calculating mode and the merits, demerits, and uses of mode. There was a headline in a paper which read Kerala's median age is 31 years and UP's median age is 20 years. As per the census 2011 data. Now, what this means? Does it mean that this is one value or this is one age? If you talk about Kerala, 31 years is one age and all the people have 31 years of age? Or does it mean a value below which an equal number of people exist and above which an equal number of people exist? So what is this value? And UP's median age is 20 years. They say that UP is going to have, if you look at the states, or UP possesses the youngest population in the country. And whereas Kerala, if you talk of India, it is having the oldest population. And they make this statement by looking at certain figures which is highlighted in the census data or somewhere else. Or sometimes we read median wages of workers in factory X are 8,000. So what this median tells us? What is this value? Is it same as arithmetic mean or it is something different? If you look at it, if you analyze it, then you will find it is not arithmetic mean, it is different. And median is one value which divides the data. When you arrange the population data or sample data in some order, either ascending order or descending order, into 2 equal parts. Data has been arranged, then the middle value, that is half the data is less than median and half the data is more than median. So when you say median age of Kerala is 31 years, it means if you look at the total population of Kerala, then half the population of Kerala will be having age either less than or equal to 31 and half the population will be having age more than, greater than or equal to 31 years. So this value, median value, if you look at this, it depends upon the position. That's why median is also known as positional average. Now let's see how to find out the median value. In order to find out the median value, we have to arrange the data. If we are talking about, say, ungrouped data, first of all, arrange the data in either ascending order or descending order. Then next step is look at the number of observations. If the number of observations is odd, then median is the n plus 1 upon 2 to observation. And if the number of observations is even, then median is mean of n upon 2 and n upon 2 plus 1th observations. Now let's look at this using an example. Suppose we have to find the median of following numbers. We look at the numbers, it is 14, 21, 17, 22, 16, 19 and 16. That is, there are 7 numbers. Number is odd. Second, we arrange these 7 numbers in ascending order, starting from 14 and it goes up to 22. Then we find out the median value. Median value in this case, since it's an odd number, it will be n plus 1 divided by 2. That is 7 plus 1 divided by 2. It comes out to be 4. So we look at the 4th observation. So what is the 4th observation in this series? It is 17. So median value is 17. It occurs at 4th place. Now let's look at another example. Here the number of observations are 8. That is, it is an even number. So again, we arrange these observations in ascending order. So it starts from 14 and it goes up to 25. Now median value is the mean of the middle 2 observations. So middle 2 observations are the 4th one and the 5th one. So at 4th place we are having 17 and at 5th place we are having 19. So median will be the mean of 17 plus 19. So it comes out to be 17 plus 19 divided by 2. It comes out to be 18. So median value is 18. Now let's look how we calculate median in case of grouped data. In case of group data, we make use of the following formula, where median is equal to L1 plus within bracket L2 minus L1 and this whole is divided by F. Then we multiply this by within bracket M minus C. Now what is L1? L1 is the lower limit of the median class. L2 is the upper limit of the median class. F is the frequency corresponding to the median class. M is equal to n upon 2 and n is equal to total frequency, that is summation Fi. And C, it is the cumulative frequency of the class preceding the median class. So what we have to do if we are using this formula is, first of all, we have to find out the median class. Then we have to find these different values, put these different values in this formula and we will get the median value. How we exactly carry out the calculations. This is an example which tells us or which focuses on the income distribution of persons in a particular region. What we have is income in rupees, in thousand, and then in the second column we have the number of persons in 100. Say first it is written below 10. What it means, how many people are there who are having their income below 10,000. Second column the figure is 2. It means there are 200 people. Now in order to carry out the calculations, first of all we find out or we make a table in which we calculate the cumulative frequency. So we have the first column of income in rupees in thousand, second of the number of persons in 100, that is frequency, and third is the cumulative frequency, and this is less than type. How we calculate less than type? Say if I look at the first class, how many people are there who are having their income less than 10,000? So it is 2. So we have written in the third column 2. Let's look at the second class. How many people are having income between 10 to 20,000? Second column tells us there are 3 people or 300 people since it is in 100. Now, when we look at the third column, that is the cumulative frequency column, it answers the question, how many people are there who are having their income less than 20,000? So, in order to get this, we go back to the column number second and we sum the values 2 plus 3. That is the values corresponding to 0 to 10,000 and 10 to 20,000. Because all the people who are having their income from 0 to 10,000 or 10 to 20,000 are having their income less than equal to 20,000. That's why we have written in column number 3 corresponding to 10 to 25. Similarly, when we look at 20 to 30,000, how many people are there? The number is 400. But when we look at the cumulative frequency, it is 9. It tells us there are 900 people who are having their income less than equal to 30,000. So this way, we calculate the cumulative frequencies for all the classes. Now we find out, or we try to calculate the different values. First is M. M is equal to N upon 2. It comes out to be 15 upon 2 equal to 7.8. It means there are 780 people. Now we look where this 780 falls. So we look at the cumulative frequency column and we find out that in the class which is from 20 to 30,000, the cumulative frequency is 9. That is 7.8 falls in this class. So the median class is from 20 to 30,000. So L1, which is the lower limit of the median class, it is 20,000 or 20. L2 is 30. C is cumulative frequency of the class preceding the median class. That is, in this case, the class which precedes the median class is from 10 to 20,000 and the cumulative frequency is 5. So C is equal to 5. F, frequency of median class. Median class is from 20 to 30,000 and the frequency we look from column second, it is 4. L2 minus L1, that is the difference between the upper limit of the median class and lower limit of the median class, it is 30 minus 20 equal to 10. Now we put these different values in the median formula. So median comes out to be 20 plus within bracket 7.8 minus 5 equal to 27. So median income in this case is rupees 27,000. Now after calculating, we look at the merits of median. What are the plus points? One merit of median is that it can be used with open-end classes. So there is a situation and you want to find out the median wages or you want to find out the wages, say average wages, and you are having open-end classes. Then if the classes are open-end, say the last class is 45,000 and above, so you cannot use arithmetic mean. In this case, you can use median as a measure of central tendency because it doesn't depend upon the, say, last limit or the last value. It depends upon the middle value. So in case of open-end classes, median can be used as a measure of central tendency, and this is one very important plus point of median. Second is, median is not affected by extreme observations. Drawback of arithmetic mean is one value becomes extreme and either the average gets inflated or deflated. So that is one drawback of arithmetic mean. So in case where extreme observations are present, don't go for arithmetic mean, but use median, because median depends upon the middle value. It doesn't depend upon the highest or the lowest, that is the extreme values. So even if you change the highest or the lowest value, median is not going to be changed. This is second plus point of median. Third is, you can find out median, you can determine median graphically. That is, you go for a cumulative frequency curve and you can find out or you can read the median from this curve or this graph. And third is, median is not difficult. It is easy to calculate and understand. The thing is, you have to arrange the data in ascending or descending order and find out the middle value, that's median. So it's very easy. Now, there are some demerits also. One is that first thing is, if you want median, you have to arrange the whole data in some order. Say it's fine if I talk about your class, there are 60 students, I ask your income and I can arrange these 60 incomes in ascending or descending order. But if you talk about say 10 lakh people, so it's difficult. Say first of all, it's a very cumbersome exercise to arrange 10 lakh values in ascending or descending order and then proceed further. So this is one demerit. Second is, this median is not based on all the observations. So if you are changing certain values, median is not going to be affected. So it becomes a drawback also. It is not, say, taking into consideration all the values. So this is one drawback. And third drawback is, sampling stability of median is less. What it means is, say if you find out the median for a sample, say Delhi population, you take a sample of 500 people, you find out the median. Then you take another sample of 500 people and you find out median. If the central value changes and it changes substantially, then median is going to change substantially. So this is one drawback of median. Now, apart from median, one important partition value or the partition values which are frequently used in say data related to factories, economy, people is a quartile. There are basically 3 quartiles which divide the data into 4 equal parts when the data has been arranged in some order, that is ascending order or descending order. So if you talk about the first quartile, that is Q1, it divides the first 1/4 of the data from the upper 3/4 of the data. It is equal to say 25th percentile. Q2 or the second quartile, it is same as the median and it divides the data in 2 equal parts. Third quartile, Q3, it divides the first 3/4 of the data from the last quarter and it is equal to the 75th percentile. Now we look at how we calculate these other partition values, that is the quartiles Q1, Q2 and Q3. The formula which is used for calculating different quartiles is more or less same as the formula which is used for calculating the value of median. The only difference in the formula, if you compare the two, you will find that where in case of median formula m was appearing, m which is equal to n by 2, what we have in quartile formula is I multiplied by n divided by 4. So what we have done is we have divided this n by 4. In case of median, since we divide all the values in 2 classes, so it is n by 2. In case of quartiles, there are 3 quartiles and we divide all the values or different values in 4 parts using 3 quartiles. So we are dividing n by 4 and I is for the particular quartile in which we are interested. Say if we want to calculate first quartile, that is Q1, so I will take value 1. If we are interested in second quartile, that is Q2, so I will become 2. And in case of third quartile, I will become 3. So formula for quartile is Qi is equal to L1 plus within bracket L2 minus L1 divided by F, bracket close, then within bracket multiplied by I multiplied by N divided by 4, bracket close, minus C. So this is the formula of quartile class, more or less same as median class. After quartiles, another group of values known as deciles, they are also partition values and they give us more information or more complete information of the data. In deciles, what we do is we arrange the data in say ascending order or descending order, and there are 9 deciles. and they divide the data in 10 equal parts. So what happens is, suppose for example, if you are interested in, say, what are the limits of the wages of the middle 10% of the workers? So this question you cannot answer using quartile. This question you can't answer using median. This question you can answer if you are using deciles. D1 is that value. D1 is the wage below which 10% of the workers are having their income. D2 say 20%, and above D2 it is 80%. So deciles provides a more in-depth information or knowledge about the data. And fifth decile, if you talk about, it is same as Q2 or it is same as median, and it divides the data in 2 equal parts. Now let's look at how we calculate deciles, as we are already knowing that these are also partition values. Median divide in 2 parts, quartile divide in 4 parts, decile divide the data when arranged in ascending or descending order in 10 parts. So again, the formula for decile is same as, you can say more or less same as median or quartile. The difference between the formula of decile and the median formula of quartile is that instead of I multiplied by n divided by 4 as in quartile, in case of decile we have I multiplied by n divided by 10. Since there are 10 partition values and I varies from 1 to 9. The other say values which like L1, L2, L1, F and C have the same interpretation as it was in case of median. Percentiles, there are 99 percentiles. These are also partition values, and they divide the data when arranged in ascending or descending order into 100 equal parts. Say there was a CAT examination and there was a news that some number of students secured say 100 percentile. What it means? Say it tells us, say if you talk about percentiles, or sometimes you read in the newspaper that in physics the percentile was 99.9, or mathematics the percentile was 90. So what it means? It simply means that you are looking at all the units, and if I talk about 99th percentile, it means there are say 1% people who are having marks more than this 99. If somebody secures 90 or somebody is having 99 percentile, it means there are 99% of the people who are having marks or whatever it is. Say if we are interested in income, say 99th percentile income, then marks or income less than 99, and there is 1% more or equal to this 99. So percentiles divide the data into 100 equal parts. Say for example, if you are interested in say middle 15% of the workers, what is the income? So you look at P15, 15th percentile, or you are interested in say suppose 35% of the lower income group. It means you are interested in 35th percentile. The 50th percentile divides the series into 2 equal parts, and this is same as your D5 or median or Q2, whereas P25 is same as Q1 and P75 is same as Q3. Now let's look at the formula which is used for calculating or finding the percentiles. The formula, again I will say it is more or less same as deciles. There were 9 deciles dividing the data into 10 equal parts, and in case of percentiles there are 99 percentiles dividing the data into 100 parts. So the only difference is that instead of dividing I multiplied by n by 10 as we were doing in decile, here we are dividing I multiplied by n by 100, not by 10, because the data is being divided into 100 equal parts. Other values have same interpretation. Ogives. These are cumulative frequency curves. Basically what you have to do is, normally the data is available in terms of the variable, or if it is ungrouped you have individual values, if it is grouped then you have classes and there are frequencies. Then what you do is you find out the cumulative frequencies, and then you construct this either less than type cumulative frequency curve or ogive, or more than type cumulative frequency curve or ogive. These curves are very helpful. They tell us about the median value, quartile value, deciles, percentiles, all these values you can read from this less than type ogive or more than type ogive. Say for example, if you want to find out median, so what you do is you construct a less than type ogive and you construct a more than type ogive, and wherever these two intersect, from there you drop a perpendicular on the x-axis, you will get the median value. Or you construct a less than type ogive. When I talk about constructing ogives, what you have to do is you have to take cumulative frequencies on the y-axis and the value of the variable on the x-axis. So you go for less than type ogive, you find out where is n by 2 on the y-axis, then you draw a parallel line to the x-axis, wherever it meets the curve, from there you drop a perpendicular on the x-axis, that will be the median value. Now let's talk about what are the merits of quartiles, deciles and percentiles. First merit is they can be directly determined even in case of open-end classes. Second is they can easily be calculated in absence of some data, because they are not based on all the observations or units. They are helpful in calculation of measures of skewness. Basically, skewness tells us, if you look at, you must be aware that measures of skewness tells us about whether the data is symmetrical or not, or they tells us where variation is in the data, whether it is towards the right side, or whether it is towards the left side, or whether it is towards the higher side, or whether it is towards the lower side. So measures of skewness tells us this thing, and these different quartiles, deciles, percentiles help us in telling about skewness, whether the data is skewed or not. Another plus point is these values are not affected by extreme items, and they can be located, as I have already told you, they can be located graphically. Now, if you talk about the demerits of these quartiles, deciles and percentiles, values are not easily understood by a common man, because if you try to tell what is the percentile, what is 99th percentile means, so maybe a student of management or a student having a quantitative background can make out, but a layman, maybe it could be a bit difficult for that person. Second demerit is it is not based on all the observations, so it is always a negative point. And third is these values possess less sampling stability, because they change when the positional value which relate with them changes. Mode is another measure of central tendency, and it is used when we cannot resort to median, we cannot resort to geometric mean, when we cannot use arithmetic mean. Sometimes, depending upon the problem, we are interested in a phenomena and we cannot get the answer using these measures. Say for example, most common shoe size. They say most common shoe size is 6, or most common shirt size is 42. So what does 6 or 42 means? Does it mean if I say most common shoe size is 6, that we try to find out the shoe size of everyone, sum these observations and divide it by the number of observations? No. It simply means a size which most people wear. So it is the most frequent value. Mode is the most frequent value, or a value which has highest or maximum frequency. Then when you go for analysis of the data, you can come across a situation where you can easily find out the mode. We call it unimodal population. Sometimes in the data you can come across a situation where there are two modes. We call it bimodal, or sometimes it can be more than two, that is multimodal. Now we will look at an example so that we understand the concept of finding mode in a better manner. Say there are 9 students, and the percentage of these 9 students in an exam are given as follows, starting from 86 and 87, 80, 86, 76, 86, 90, 88, 86. So if we have to find out the mode for these values, what we do is we look at the value which is occurring most frequently, that is the value which is having highest frequency. So when we look at the data carefully, we find that in the data 86 occurs 4 times, that is the maximum number of times. Therefore, mode is 86. then there are certain situations there won't be any mode, or there can be more than one mode. Say if you look at these figures starting from 40, 44, 57, 78 and 84. 5 figures are given and all are occurring one time. So in this case, no figure is having highest frequency. So this is an example of no mode. Now let's look at another example. The values are 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 2, 1. So we find that 5 occurs 2 times, 4 occurs 2 times, 3 occurs 1 time, 2 occurs 1 time and 1 occurs 1 time. So highest frequency is 2 and it corresponds to 4 and 5. So there are 2 modes, 4 and 5. Third example, as we have discussed in the first example, there was no mode since no value was having any frequency more than 1. But there could be a situation when a value is having a frequency more than 1, but again no mode is existing. Let's look at this one. We have 8, 8, 8, 8. All values are 8. That is, there is no other value. 8 is occurring 5 times, but there is no other value. So we say in this case also there is no mode. Now we will discuss the formula which is used for calculating mode when the data is grouped. When the data is grouped, the formula is mode is equal to L1, then you have within bracket F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2. Now what are these values? L1 is lower limit of the modal class, F1 frequency of the modal class, F0 frequency of the class preceding the modal class, F2 frequency of the class succeeding the modal class. And what is I? I is the size of the class. Now in this case, first of all we have to find, if we are using this formula for group data, first of all we have to find out which is the modal class, and this we get by looking at the frequency column. Wherever the frequency is highest, that class becomes the model class. Now let's look at the merits of mode. First important merit is that mode is easy to calculate and simple to understand. It's so simple that even a person who is a layman, truly layman, that person can also understand what is mode, because you have just to tell him that mode is something which occurs maximum number of times. That is the most common thing. So even a layman can tell you what is the most common thing. Second important merit of mode is it is not affected by extreme values. What it means is, suppose if I talk about a class, say a PG class having a specialization in finance, and if I try to find out their income, suppose there are 6 students. So one person tells that the income is, family income is 10,000, second says 15,000, third says 18,000, fourth 18,000, fifth 25,000 and sixth 30,000. So what is mode? Mode is the value which has highest frequency. So in this case there are 2 people, 2 students having family income of 18,000. So mode is 18,000. Now in this case, a student having the highest income was the one who stated his income to be 30,000. Now if you replace this 30,000 by 300 crores, then also the mode remains 18,000. It is not affected. So this is an important plus point of mode. Third merit of mode is that the value of mode can be determined graphically. You put it on the graph paper, that is on the y-axis you take the frequency and on the x-axis you take the variable. Wherever, at whichever point you get the peak, the highest point, from that highest point you drop a perpendicular on the x-axis, that will be the mode. Fourth plus point of mode is that it can be determined in case of open-end classes. That is, you are having income starting from below 10,000, then 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000, 30,000 to 40,000, and the last class is 40,000 and above. In this case also, you can find out mode because mode simply depends upon the value of frequency. Wherever you have the highest frequency, that will be the modal class, and you can do the calculations. Now, let's look at the demerits of mode. What are the demerits? First is, it cannot always be determined. We have already seen that there could be a situation where no mode is existing. Second negative point of mode is that it is not based on each and every item of the series. So sometimes you can have a situation that modal value is something, but it is not able to properly represent the data. And third demerit of mode is it is not rigidly defined. Not rigidly defined means that people can use different ways for arriving at the mode. Somebody can make use of the formula of mode as we discussed in case of group data. Somebody can make use of an empirical formula of mode where they look at the relationship between mean and median and they can calculate mode. So if two people using two different formulas for the same data, then chances are that there will be difference in the value of mode. So we say that mode is not rigidly defined. So dear students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. One thing is partition values divide the data. Now it must be clear to all of you. When arranged in either ascending or descending order into different number of equal parts. If you talk about median, it is the value which divides the data into equal parts. It is the middle value. The place of median in a series is such that equal number of items lie on either side of it. That is, it splits the observation in two halves. We can also show that 50% of the observations are less than median, 50% are more than median. Then if quartiles we have discussed, there are 3 quartiles and they divide the data when arranged in ascending or descending order into 4 parts. Q1 separates the first quartile or the first quarter of the data from the remaining 3/4. If you talk about the second quartile, it divides into 2 parts. It is same as median. And if you talk about the third quartile, it separates the first 3 quarters of the data from the last quarter and it is same as the 75th percentile. Then we talked about deciles, and there are 9 deciles and they divide the data in 10 equal parts when it has been arranged in ascending or descending order. Apart from deciles, we discussed about percentiles. There are 99 percentiles and they divide the data in 100 equal parts. We also talked about ogives, which are cumulative frequency curves or graphs, which help us in finding different partition values graphically. Lastly, we talked about mode, which is a very important measure of central tendency, and mode is the value which occurs most frequently in the data, and the concept of mode is often used in determining sizes, and it is a very appropriate measure of central tendency in case of nominal data. Thank you.